The Sulanuboxy, or more commonly known as the blue-footed booby, is a large tropical seabird iconic to the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador. The name booby originates from the Spanish word bobo, which means foolish or clown. This is referring to their clumsy movement on land and fearlessness towards humans. Blue-footed boobies live on the western coast of Central and South America. The Galapagos Islands is home to about half of all breeding pairs. Blue-footed boobies have no natural predators on land and few natural predators at sea. However, research done in 2014 found that the number of blue-footed boobies has fallen more than 50% in the last 20 years. My presentation will be examining humans' effects on the bird's population by answering the three following sub-questions. For biology, how have humans contributed to the decrease in breeding of blue-footed boobies? The sub-question for chemistry is, why are carotenoids important for blue-footed boobies? Finally, my environment question will be answering, how has climate change affected blue-footed boobies? The four big ideas of Biochemistry Inquiry 11 are, what are we made of? How are we classified? How do we change over time? And how do we interact and affect our environment? For the what are we made of part, we learned about cells, DNA, proteins, enzymes, and reactions. For how are we classified, we learned about organic nomenclature as well as classification in biology and chemistry. For how we change over time, we studied natural selection, evolution, and microbiology. Finally, for the last section, we are learning about invertebrates. I chose to do my capstone about humans' effects on blue-footed boobies because a year ago, I went on a trip to the Galapagos Islands. When I was there, I saw lots of red-footed and Nazca boobies, but not very many blue-footed ones. I wondered why blue-footed boobies were so much harder to find compared to the other birds, and that inspired me to learn more about them. Now to start, a paper published by Avian Conservation and Ecology discovered that the population of blue-footed boobies has dropped from around 20,000 in the 1960s to 6,400 in 2014. The decline in their population has been associated with a decrease in reproduction. Between August 2011 and June 2013, no more than 10.9% of the adult population had an active nest. Moreover, in 2014, scientists noticed that 10 or so blue-footed booby breeding colonies used since 1997 were simply empty. The chronic lack of breeding of blue-footed boobies, which began in 1998, seems to be linked to their diet. The bird's diet consists of anchovies, flying fish, other pelagic fish, squid, and most importantly, sardines. Pacific sardines are essential to blue-footed boobies as successful breeding occurs when they make up almost completely of what they consume. Dr. David Anderson identified that sardines make up half or less of the diet of boobies that were failing to breed. According to the Wake Forest University, sardines have become less available throughout the Galapagos Islands, and the decline in sardines, which started in the mid-1990s, matches the decline in breeding on two colonies in the Galapagos. Oceana attributes the drop in the sardine population to overfishing by humans. Gustavo Jimenez, a marine bird survival and reproduction specialist, states that there are more boats and more people in recent years who eat sardines, and there are no limitations on managing or conserving the species. The depression in sardines is still occurring presently, with the National Marine Fisheries Service assessment in 2017 revealing that the Pacific sardine population has crashed by 95% since 2006, to its lowest level in decades. The continued overfishing of the bluefoot boobies' preferred prey could potentially reduce population sizes in the future. Moving on to my chemistry question, why are carotenoids important for blue-footed boobies? Carotenoids are a class of 750 naturally occurring pigments synthesized by plants, algae, and photosynthetic bacteria. They can be yellow, orange, and red. Carotenoids also serve as antioxidant and immunostimulants for animals such as blue-footed boobies. One kind of carotenoid is mesozeaxanthin. Research has found that mesozeaxanthin is present in sardines. What makes sardines crucial for blue-footed boobies is how they affect their feet. The yellow carotenoid pigments, which blue-footed boobies obtain by eating sardines, are concentrated in their feet, making them appear blue in color. The higher the concentration of the pigment, the more bright the color blue. When mating, blue-footed boobies tend to pick a partner with bright feet. The reason is that the intensity of the color reflects the boobie's health. A study found that altering the amount of carotenoids in food a blue-footed booby consumes induces comparable changes in cell-mediated immune functions, suggesting that the carotenoid pigmentation reveals the immunological state of blue-footed boobies. It concluded that foot coloration is a rapid and honest signal of a blue-footed boobie's current health and condition. However, the incorporation of the pigments in the bird's feet means that they cannot be used for immunity and detoxification. This means that blue-footed boobies with bright feet are strong and healthy and can afford to use more carotenoids in foot coloration. Additionally, the chicks that boobies with bright feet raise grow faster than the one raised by duller-footed boobies. Blue-footed boobies that have less carotenoids and thus less bright feet have a less likely chance of attracting mates. Increasingly, more boobies have been unable to eat a satisfactory amount of sardines, consequently lowering the rate of reproduction. Lastly, my final sub-question is answering how has climate change affected blue-footed boobies? The Government of Canada states that human activity is the main cause of climate change. This is due to humans burning fossil fuels, sequentially increasing the amount of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Climate change is harming marine life in a multitude of different ways, such as raising the average temperature of the ocean and causing more severe storms. This is negatively altering the lifestyle of organisms that live in the ocean. The changing climate has had devastating effects on seabirds. Over the past 50 years, the world's population of marine birds has more than halved. Tim Burkhead from the University of Sheffield diagnoses the root cause of it to be climate change. He outlines that one of the main reasons being that the more intense and frequent storms make it harder for seabirds to find food. Furthermore, global warming is increasing the frequency of extreme El Niño events, and seabirds typically struggle during them. During El Niño, the ocean surface will warm up and rainfall increases in the tropical Pacific Ocean, which in turn reduces the food base of blue-footed boobies. Over the 1997-1998 El Niño event, the waters around the Galapagos Islands were above lethal temperatures for sardines, and thus resulted in a reduction of the population. Dr. Dave Anderson, who has done a long-term study of blue-footed booby breeding, states that the population was doing great until 1997, the year of a powerful El Niño. He expected the blue-footed boobies to recover in 1998, but they never returned in meaningful numbers. El Niño is a natural phenomenon that generally occurs on average every 5 years, and lasts for about 9 months to 2 years, whereas the more intense super El Niños tend to take place around every 20 years. A study in 2014 indicated that super El Niño events could double in the future because of climate change caused by humans. Scientists also proclaim that if the Earth's temperature keeps rising, El Niño events could continue to intensify. This will have catastrophic effects on blue-footed booby population, as warm waters during their natal year reduces the probability of recruiting. Each additional degree Celsius of water temperature meant a reduction of roughly 50% in the fledgling's probability to return to its natal colony as breeders. To summarize, this presentation examines humans' impacts on the blue-footed booby population. Humans have contributed to the decrease in breeding of blue-footed boobies through the overfishing of Pacific sardines. This has resulted in blue-footed boobies having less food and carotenoids. When they do not have enough carotenoids, the feet of a blue-footed booby become less bright, and this results in them having a lower chance of finding a mate. Dr. Dave Anderson predicts that if the sardine numbers don't rise in the next 10 years, the population size will drop from the currently estimated 6,400 boobies to about 1,500. On top of that, the increasing frequency of super El Niño events has caused even more difficulties for the dwindling number of blue-footed boobies, while at the same time exacerbating their pre-existing ones. Other factors could be causing the decline in population, such, for example, an unknown disease. Although during a 2-year study on blue-footed boobies, researchers saw no apparently sick birds. The decline in blue-footed booby chicks has repercussions for animals that feed on them, such as the endemic Galapagos hawks. It is crucial that more conservation efforts are enacted, such as tougher limitations on fishing Pacific sardines, in order to protect the blue-footed booby population. Thinking like a scientist is based on asking and answering questions. The scientific thinking model defines the 4 steps thinking like a scientist as observe, hypothesize, experiment, and analyze. In Biochemistry Inquiry 11, we did more projects than a normal course. Something I liked about the course was that we had multiple days to do projects, so that allowed me to do review and make edits. A few things I struggled with during the course is that I would procrastinate on some projects. Additionally, the capstones were stressful and overwhelming at times, as there are many different components to complete. Thank you for listening.